watching CKPG TV Prince George, a division of the Jim Pattison Broadcast Group.
This is a journey into sound.
I would never start to have the argument whether or not a record sounds better. I think it does. I don't know if it actually does, but for me it does. And that, because music is so subjective, that's enough. That's what matters.
Well, what's the best picture ever drawn, you know? And when you look at the full spectrum of, you know, the analog to digital and the crossovers and what's become of it, the special effects that they've designed, you know, and vocals and stuff like that are just incredible, right? And you got to appreciate it for what it is.
The sound that vinyl has, the little problems and little ticks, and somehow it adds to the sound, and every vinyl lover will tell you that. It's just something about the sound of it.
The warmth of the sound, something you probably hear a lot when people talk about listening to vinyl, is just the warmth that you get and just the fullness.
I think because vinyl records are the first format. It's like this, they've been around for 120 years, maybe a little more. And so that's never changed. It's like, this is how we were able to access this music in the beginning, and it's still the way we can access it. And it has a certain aesthetic, audio aesthetic that is something that can be recognized through that whole history. So it feels like you're a part of something more.
In the broadcasting industry today, there's a new pause for station identification. It's CKPG Prince George.
Putting the vinyl track on and listening to it in a surround sound atmosphere and just cranking up the volume and listening to it that way. And I felt like I noticed something different, but I don't, you know, I'm not an audio expert. I'm just a fan of vinyl.
I think the sound quality is number one. I mean, when you're getting digital, you're getting a compressed sound. So it's not a recording where you've got, you know, all the different instruments in a different wave. It's all in one. So the record is not condensed. So you're hearing a fuller sound. So there's just no other format that has that.
It's that thing about the analog, you know, like people are realizing that they're seeing stuff that, you know, it's trickery, you know, in the music, you know, like they'll listen to it and they'll see the videos, but they know that, you know, like there's trickery involved in it. It'd be the same thing as seeing a movie and then going to see a live play. You know that what you see in front of you is all real, and it's organic. Put it to you that way.
That's an interesting conversation, especially now that most of what we listen to is recorded digitally, and then people still put out records. So it's a digital to analog experience. So you might have the sense or the idea that when you buy a record, you're getting some sort of full analog experience, but for the most part, 90% of the time, that's not the case these days.
My husband being a sound tech and me being old school, you know, I prefer the simpler sounds, more natural sounds. So I kind of feel it's all a little milli vanilli. And we were at the recording studio in Vancouver once going through a workshop, and to watch the whole process, it was all so technical. I do think you lose a lot of the heart and soul out of it.
My only son.
Do you have tough cleaning jobs around your house? Calcium deposits, lime, rust stains, yuck. Well, clean up right and clean up fast with CLR. CLR's powerful formula blasts through tough cleaning problems inside and outside the house, on virtually every surface. It tackles buildup on shower heads, fights rust stains on bathtubs, dissolves calcium in washing machines to keep them running clean and trouble-free. Even coffee pots, so coffee tastes better. And CLR carries the Design for the Environment seal, which means it's recognized for safer chemistry, so you can rest assured it's safer for your family and the planet. Tough meets safe with eco-friendly CLR. Tough on yuck, gentle on everything else.
At Canadian Tire, Home Hardware, Home Depot, Superstores, Extra Foods, Rona, Safeway, Sobeys, Overweight, Save on Food, Shoppers, Co-op, Ace Hardware, V&S, London Drugs, Walmart.
Service and value and a whole lot more. We know what you want when you walk through our door, and we've got it.
We've got it at Action Motors with round-the-clock savings on quality used vehicles. Trade up, trade down, trade straight across. Action Motors has all different makes. With a full detail and service center too, Action Motors has it all for you. Proud to have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. See Action Motors today, 17th and Queensway, Prince George, and actionmotors.net.
We make deals you won't believe, satisfaction guaranteed. We've got it.
Vanishing's Laser Aesthetics has been delivering medical-grade skincare for over 14 years. Their advanced skin treatments include laser resurfacing, Botox, and cosmetic fillers, along with corrective facials, chemical peels, and skin remodeling and tightening. Get back more than just confidence. Go online at vanishings.ca or call for a complimentary consultation and get started today on your personalized treatment plan towards healthier-looking skin.
Vanishings.ca.
I think one of the differences with listening to an album on vinyl is you're listening to the whole album how the artist wanted you to listen to it. From start to finish, from side A to side B. You're listening to how they've composed the whole album, where when you have all those songs, the thousands of songs on your iTunes account, on your phone, you're listening to a variety of different artists. So it's just a mashup of a playlist.
I feel like I get to experience the music a lot more, not having that next button. Just having the next and the shuffle button, I don't feel like I experience the music, or even in lots of cases, even give a song a chance.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been there. Next.
You can't relax.
Next.
You just take the mainstream stuff and you get them. But maybe if you have a record, you might hear the last song on there that is not so popular, but you really like it. And that becomes your favorite record, and you just connect with the song, and it becomes it. But because now things are not really released that big on CDs or that big on anything that's all digital, what you end up doing is you hear the best song that the majority of people say is the best song, but really maybe the best song on it would be some random song that nobody really likes, but you might connect to it and like it. So I think that also gives you the connection with records, because there's that song that just feel like you're singing it about you. And you only discovered it because you own a record. You have no other option but to listen to it.
Yeah, I think the best way to listen to any music is on the format that it was first released on, which is why I collect 78s. Like, I love old Dixieland and ragtime. So to me, like when I listen to Big Spiderback and Louis Armstrong, I want it to be on 78 in mono, coming from one speaker. That doesn't sound very good, but this is the format that they expected people to listen to it, if that makes sense.
I like to listen to a whole album at once. I like to appreciate the art of what the artist wanted to present to you, like listening from track one all the way and then flipping the record and listening to it and experiencing, instead of experiencing one track, because then you're always looking for that golden hit, and then you're listening to the radio, and then might as well make your own advertisements in between songs, Hey, you're listening to the Garrett Mix.
Like, no, I have a lot of music on my computer. I don't even know what they are. But if I went to the store and bought this record, or I have this record, at one point I've taken it, I've looked at the picture on it, it's like the people thing, you know. A virtual thing and something that you can hold is a whole big different game.
From the ashes, a new hero will rise to restore fun to the city. It's Ty, the Fun Chaser guy! Faster than a speeding promotions vehicle, more powerful than an arena full of lightning sticks, and able to leap from event to event in a single bound! Watch, look, and listen for Ty, the PG Classic Auto Body Fun Chaser. Brought to you by Save on Foods, Northland Chrysler Jeep Dodge, Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual, Caribou Brewing, Subway, and CKPG TV.
When you live in northern BC, you want a truck you can depend on. 6.7-liter Cummins turbo diesel engine with the strongest tow capacity in its class makes Ram the truck of choice. This is Dodge Country. Guts, glory, Ram. Available at Regency Chrysler, downtown Quesnel.
Fouled your fender, banged your bumper, or worse? Bring your baby to PG Classic Auto Body. They're an ICBC accredited valet express shop. Make one call to ICBC, give Classic your claim number, and they'll handle the rest. They use the latest equipment and techniques so you'll get precise and accurate repairs. And they offer all the services you need while your vehicle is in the shop. PG Classic Auto Body, right behind ICBC on Quinn Street.
Classic Auto Body, yeah, yeah. Happy birthday!
That's wonderful. Thank you, dear. Very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You make me feel so young. You make me feel so spring has sprung. And every time I see you,
You're not fooling anybody you know. Think young. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
One's about $30 less than the other.
If I'm going to purchase vinyl, I want to make sure it's an artist that A, I like, B, it's an album that I know I'm going to enjoy, and honestly, the third reason is the album artwork. Led Zeppelin 3 has probably one of the coolest albums, just for the cover, that you're able to move it around and the different artists pop up. And I just think it's one of the coolest album covers.
The one thing I do miss about vinyl, and this is what has gotten taken away, and it's the same thing with reading a good newspaper, you know, the print form, is the artwork on the albums. You know, you used to have this huge picture that a lot of thought was behind it, and the artwork was awesome. You know, the Led Zeppelin days, and Queen, and all those guys. It was some beautiful stuff involved.
Personally, I collect records. I have since I was a little kid, and for me, the album art was a big part of it. Just a full format that made it kind of a when you make an album, it's not just the music. There's all these other factors that are involved, and it seems like that was so much more important before.
When you're looking at the album artwork, you could really appreciate it when it's on the vinyl format because it's so huge. It's like 12 inches, and you're like, man, this is how it was meant to see. It's like, this is a piece of art. You get to a CD, it's down to like 4 inches, and you're like squinting at it, like, well, I guess there's some cool stuff here. And then you get all the way down to your MP3, and you're like, this is like 1 inch screen. It just keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then that's one aspect that's getting lost, is just the artwork that was associated with the album, which I feel is very important.
There's an artist I love called Bobby Gentry, who just had a couple of hits in the 70s. And she has this a track called Fancy. And I've been waiting to find the album, not just for that one track, but the other thing I love about vinyl is the record covers and the artwork. And on this album, it's a painting of Bobby Gentry, and she's got this amazing red dress on. I'll often buy a record and I haven't necessarily heard the music, but if I like the cover, I will just go on that. Like if there's dudes with afros on it wearing bright colored suits and sparkles, I'm like, I think I'm probably gonna like it.
This is a vinyl. What makes this vinyl cool? You know what? To me too, when I go back to what vinyls are, they represent music for me too, in a way. Even though there's all those formats that have come out, 8-track, you know, whatever was before, vinyl just represent music, and to me, music is cool.
You know, when dance music came out in the 90s, vinyl record never really went away. That's all the DJs used vinyl. Now there is more digital around and it's easier to get hold of digital, but a lot of DJs from that era will prefer vinyl every time. And you see that here in Prince George too. Like there's quite a few local DJs that will only use vinyl. Lots of them use a mixture of the two.
So here's the deal. Between this vinyl and this vinyl, can you tell the difference? Besides looking at the name? This is a control vinyl. What control vinyl does is, it's blank. Basically, it allows you to temporarily put any music that you have on the interface onto the control vinyl so you can play it out. That was my intro into it. I got my first real turntable.
It was almost a goal at that point. Like I needed a record player. I didn't know nothing about it. So I bought the record player. Didn't got an amp, didn't have any speakers or nothing, but I had a record player. And it's just been like getting one piece at a time after that. So then I knew I had to get an amp. I learned that I needed an amp. I'm like, how do I make this louder? And then I made my way down to Second Thoughts and I met Larry there. And that's when I bought my first amp. And I wasn't even buying speakers at the same time, but he gave me these little tiny speakers just so I could listen to it. And Larry's the greatest guy ever. I'm glad he did that. It would have been painful.
Most people probably know Second Thoughts on 2nd Avenue. Larry in there, he's a great guy, and he knows his music. And you can get all different styles of music in there, and good quality records, second-hand mostly, but he orders new ones in too. But he'll give you a good price, and they're well looked after. He cleans them all up. So I love going in there when I get the chance.
Well, there's a lot fewer record stores now, so I think just from a wide perspective, it's less accessible. We have one small record store here, and everyone that likes vinyl records knows Larry because he's our record guy in town, and he knows a lot about music. So people like that to me are really important members of a community, that they're kind of the curators in a way.
Now there's an album cover. Here, could you do that face for the camera? Yeah, pretty good. HMV, Electron has a little part right by the drumsticks up the stairs there. And for new ones, HMV, London Drugs, and of course there's the thrift stores around town, Hospital Auxiliary, the Salvation Army. They have a nice little collection there. Of course, you want to get there as soon as a bundle gets dropped off because quickly it just becomes Mozart, gospel, and unwanted records.
It's interesting to go into a pawn shop, and there's a pawn shop in Prince George, and I was just rifling through a few records, and I found Prince's Purple Rain. And I'm not a huge Prince fan, but enough that I know that owning Purple Rain would be a pretty cool album to own.
Whenever I go to any city, I usually try and make a stop at a record store, and depending on where you are, you always have something to talk about with those people. So I definitely miss that. Like I say, there is a bit of it here in town.
Just meeting other people that love vinyls too is kind of cool. Conversing, finding out what records are there in their collection. Just hearing about other people's finds too sometimes. And then also I like to just dig through vinyls and find things that stand out. Like one time I must have spent 2 hours digging through vinyls in Second City Mover Company. I don't know, it was just a junk thrift shop.
Okay.
And I dug through it for like 2 hours and like just about giving up, I found this one, and it has a picture of the Kiwanis Music Center in what used to be Fort George Park, which is now Lake Park. And it's cool. And then I looked in the back of it. One of the producers of the album was Murray Krause, our city councilor. The councilator.
He's the bomb!
Whatever your key to life is, let Norolf and Associates protect it. Home, auto, business, recreational, travel. Let them unlock the puzzle of insurance coverage. Visit them today. Norolf and Associates in the Spruceland Shopping Center. When your vehicle gets a bad case of the hiccups, cure them with a quick trip to Big O Tires. They deliver top-notch service and specialize in all types of alignments, shocks, brakes, oil changes, and of course, tires and rims. So let Big O Tires smooth out your ride. Book your appointment today or come by the shop on Queensway.
Trust our family to keep your family safe on the road.
It's never too early to treat your vehicle to a visit at Big O Tires.
Big O Tires.
It can happen here. It can happen here. Here. Or even here. If you have a personal injury or wrongful death claim, I'm here to help you. I'm Garth Wright. Call me for a free consultation.
No payment required until your claim is settled. Garth A. Wright Law Corporation, 564-5544.
Pull in front of me.
Daddy, we don't say words like that.
Just let your love flow like a mountain.
Good examples. Pass them on.
With the smallest of dreams and let your love show. And you'll know what I mean.
In the past, stereophonic tapes like this one gave about 36 minutes of music and cost about as much as 3 LP records. But with the new tape cartridge with easy magazine loading, living stereo will be available at a cost of a little more than 1 LP record. So simple, so convenient, so practical, so easy to use, and with all the unquestioned advantages of tape. Now ready to move the tape recorder out of the closet and into the living room where it belongs.
Cassettes were good because you could record onto a cassette. That's what I really remember. As a kid, I could take my dad's vinyl records and record different tracks from different records onto a cassette. So that's why they work so well, but they don't last. Like, remember, you always like have to wind, like the string had come out, you'd have to wind it back in with a pencil.
Well, I don't know. I think there are some cassette, not connoisseurs. I think it's a convenience thing, and it's a format that lends itself to a little bit more artistic expression.
You know, I think deep inside, everybody still like vinyl. It just, when you go, there's no DJ softwares that are based on cassette tapes, but there is DJ software that are based on vinyl. There's a lot of DJ software that are not based on CDs, but it all, you know, if you go in my program, it's mimicking vinyl.
Vinyl, I don't know. I don't really know what's driving it. If it's the nostalgia, it's nostalgia that people remember growing up, or it's the sheer size of the actual item itself. It's really a mystery to me, but one thing is the music. I mean, you can go out and buy a CD for $10, or you can just go down to your local thrift shop and spend 50 cents and get a few gems.
I don't know if it'd be nostalgic for myself because I wasn't around when vinyl was there, but I like the feeling of actually having a record and actually feeling the music and having it in my hand. I think it's pretty cool to actually be able to look and see on the vinyl, and you can see where the lines are. That's where the song starts. I like actually getting up and flipping over the record when I'm listening to music. I don't know, it's just, it takes you back a little bit.
Thank you for the good spin.
The truth is, the average person that like records today, which is, let's say, kids my age or even younger that like records, they would have no idea of some of the music you're talking about, but yet they still like it. You know, I haven't actually had anybody that I've ever talked to about vinyl that didn't have anything cool to say about it. Oh, I mean, I don't like those. No, I've never had that. Yet I've talked to some of the youngest people. I mean, you know, I think the best example would be like my daughter, 4 or 5 years old. I could show her vinyl. I bet you anything she would like a vinyl. She'd be like, "Oh, that's cool. Can I have it, Daddy?"
I don't think it's a fad. I think people are just going back to realizing that not all new things are better. When
not always. Yeah.
Not always. And then just the experience of listening to music. When you're listening to it on a computer, it's not as special.
I think we're really lucky that we have access to all these different avenues for accessing music. So yeah, I use MP3s for, you know, walking my dog and in my vehicle. You know, having that convenience is huge. For me, I use MP3s like radio too. Like, you know, if I hear there's a new album that came out, I'll check it out. I'll check it out on that format first. If I love it, then I'll buy the record.
Records. I can't wait to hear the whole story. I think, you know, bringing up the whole thing about vinyl and bringing it into people's minds and having them think about it, well, why? And those analog sounds and getting back to basics, I think is a good thing. Anytime you can remind people that there's a starting point to sound and music. And if you really want to appreciate the intricacies of the digital age, you got to go back to the basics and listen to that, just to see you're going from here to there.
In high definition on Telus Optic 115, this is City on CKPG.